Good afternoon, sixth grade. Welcome back to Wildcat Wellness. This is Mr. McCaffrey, your counselor. We're going to continue with Wildcat Wellness second step lessons. But beforehand, I want to let teachers know that, thank you for last week for getting students involved and engaged. Thank you for your support with these Wildcat Wellness lessons. And thank you for the students. You guys have been great. I've been hearing from your teachers, and the more you engage with each other, the more we get out of these lessons. I've been hearing from teachers, they've just been very happy, and just, it makes everyone, feel a little bit better inside knowing, the students are engaged and that the students are, bouncing ideas and topics and having conversations with the teachers and with each other. And that is at the core of these Wildcat Wellness lessons. So I'm going to share my screen as we get started. Teachers, you saw there was a change in the format of the second step program. But if you just go into, after you recreate your class, you go into the sixth grade lessons, and we're on lesson 3, trying new strategies. So again, teachers, a few tips, and students, make sure you pay attention. Your teachers will have to decide kind of how much you're going to use the chat versus how much we want you to write down and reflect on your own. Because we do want you to do some thinking on your own before, we get into, discussing our ideas and, our thoughts about whatever the question or the topics may be. So teachers, be thinking. If you are more comfortable using the chat, or if you, would rather have them write on paper, there are some questions where I think it's best we write on paper. So students, please pull out a separate sheet of paper, or if you even have a separate binder, I think there are a separate notebook. I think that'd be great for the second step lessons or Wildcat Wellness to have that information together. So there are some instances where the chat's better, and there's some instances where we want you to write down and reflect on your own first. Kind of up to teachers. I'll guide you through it. You see the warm up, that can be a good discussion, as a class. And then when we get into even the discussion, the activity portion, it's better to kind of write down and reflect on your own and then come together as a class. So teachers, keep that in mind as we go through. And as you review it, you'll kind of, you'll understand your class, and you'll be able to figure that process out on your own. So the lesson today is about trying new strategies. So in this lesson, we'll learn how to adjust our strategies for learning something new when we feel like giving up. And teachers, I know, as we grew up, we all experienced things that we were either failing at or we just weren't that good at. And how do we overcome that? And, for me, as a basketball player, as a basketball coach, the big thing, is practice, practice, practice. So whether it's you want to become an artist, or you're playing a musical instrument, or, you're playing a sport, no matter what you do, hard work and practice are at the very top of your list of how to achieve a goal and keep working through it and come out the other end successful. There are other strategies, getting help, you're going to see in this lesson. We'll touch on some of those, and, we're going to learn some new strategies for when things are hard and we feel like giving up. So again, students, extremely important, we try to make the connection between what we're learning in school, especially during these Wildcat Wellness lessons, and how that applies to your life outside school, whether that's things going on at home, things going on in your community. If you're on a sports team, if you're in the band or chorus, which I know right now with virtual learning, it's a little up in the air, but we encounter situations all the time outside of school that require us to try a strategy to overcome. Especially personally, we have to make sure that, we work through these problems, and we got to develop those strategies. So that's the goal of these lessons, students, is develop strategies for overcoming in all areas of life, not just a hard schoolwork assignment. So keep that in mind, and keep that, at the top of your head when we have these discussions coming up of how you can apply these, to your life outside school. Because that's our goal, is to, give you the skills to achieve in all areas of life. And that's part of PBIS. Be here, be ready, be respectful. When we grow up, if you're going to own your own business, or if you're going to work for a company, be here, be ready, be respectful is going to apply to your life. So that's why we teach those expectations throughout school, is because it's going to be expectations throughout your whole life. So again, we're going to learn some new strategies here in school that you can apply to your real life. And that's why I really love these Wildcat Wellness lessons. Honestly, that's why I became a counselor, is to help students grow in all areas. So we're going to get into this, trying new strategies. So the warm-up question is, think about a time you tried to learn something new but felt like giving up. What was it, and why did you feel like giving up? So this might be a good time, teachers, to decide if you want them to put it in the chat or if you'd like to have them reflect and write on a piece of paper. And I think writing is kind of a lost skill. So I'm leaning towards having students write for 2-3 minutes, and then we come back together and we discuss. Teachers, it's up to you. If you pause, I'll pick up here in a second. We'll go to the next slide. So now this is some critical information. I want all students to write this down. All right, the formula for learning. Questions are, how does hard work help you learn? And what can you do if you're working hard but still not getting it? All right, so teachers discuss that. I think before you click on the formula, maybe let kids write some things down in the chat or on paper and discuss them. And students, think hard about these. So you can pause. All right, now I'm going to show the formula. And I want everyone to write this down if you haven't already. But the formula for learning is hard work plus good strategies plus help from others equals power for learning. Okay? And hopefully y'all had a little discussion about that. Teachers, I know you have some words to say on that, and I know some students had some thoughts. We will keep going. And teachers, please pause as you discuss. I know you know that. So getting help. What are some learning strategies that work for you when you're having trouble learning something new? Who are some people you go to for help? Now this can be different for everybody, but I bet a lot of us kind of have a similar approach, but that's why we do these lessons, to listen from others, and what works for someone else might help you that you hadn't thought about yet. So that's the point of these discussions. So we learn from each other. Pause while you talk. Okay, so on to the activity. What could happen? Maria is trying to learn to skateboard, but every time she gets on the board, she falls. She's frustrated and doesn't feel like she's getting any better. What could happen if she gives up? So maybe throw these in the chat as they come up or as you think of them. So you can pause and then I'll show the possible answers. All right, so possible answers for what could happen if she gives up. She could never learn to skateboard. She might feel bad about herself, hurt her self-confidence, which is something we want to all work on. She might not want to try learning difficult things in the future, and it absolutely could impact her. If she, for some reason, gives up and doesn't learn how to skateboard, she might not want to learn how to ice skate or rollerblade or any other activity that might seem difficult at first. But if you put that hard work in and you try new strategies and you get a little help, that's when that power for learning can help and you can learn how to skateboard or whatever the activity is. I know skateboarding, just a little personal note for you, was a skill I had never had. And I tried when I was a kid and I'd fallen and I told my mom, I don't want the skateboard, return it, get our money back. It's not for me. But actually over the pandemic time period, over the summer, I got a long skateboard, one of the biggest wheels, most sturdy you could get, and I learned how to skateboard. So this one applies directly to me. It's kind of cool to see. But it took me a while. It took me almost a week straight to be able to stay on it and go down the road. How to keep going. Instead of giving up on skateboard, how could Maria change her strategy? All right, so this one might be good to, once you talk about this and discuss it, to write down some of these strategies because they could be, helpful for you in whatever your challenge or whatever new skill you're trying to learn. So you can pause to discuss, and then I'll show those new strategies. All right, so some new strategies that could help Maria is skate with someone else for moral support. Tell herself falling and making mistakes is a part of learning, which is very true. When I'm coaching or training basketball, I often tell kids, if you're not making mistakes, you're not going hard enough and you're not getting better and you're not learning. So that one's applies directly to me. Skate somewhere new, get help from an experienced skater, watch online videos on learning how to skateboard. And I think you students are amazing at finding YouTube videos of how to learn. And that's a big part of learning, is finding others who can break it down, because some people communicate differently than others. Their communication might be a little more easier for you to understand. So looking for that help is important in whatever it is you're trying to learn. All right, we'll continue on. So teachers, you see here, it kind of seems like a question that's really out of place, and honestly, a little bit is. So instead of giving up, how could Piper and Abed change their strategy? There's not much context there, and there's nowhere really to even click. So just to show you, if you were to go back to trying new strategies, and you go to student handout, this is a valuable resource. Now, we're not asking teachers to download it and upload it. That is a lot of work. But if you encourage kids to write things down, like you'll see right here, it has a layout for formula for learning. We want all students to write that down. That applies all throughout life. That's a very powerful formula for learning. So you'll see, if you scroll down, when it gets to the activity, about scenario 1. Piper is having trouble learning a list of vocabulary words in Spanish. Instead of giving up, how could they change their strategy? All right, so pause to discuss. And then scenario 2, Abed is having difficult learning how to create a video blog. Instead of giving up, how could they change their strategy? And this one might apply to students, so I think there could be some good ideas on this one. So teachers, as you can see, some of the questions are a little random, but they're in the student handout. You might have to flip back and forth a little bit like I did. But hopefully you all had a decent discussion on that. We will continue on to the wrap up. All right, the wrap up is, think back to what you wrote for the warm-up question. What are some strategies you used or could have used to help keep going? So these are the things I want you to write down in your notebook or on a sheet of paper to have with you, because this isn't just about, how to figure out a certain math problem. It's about figuring out full strategies for any issues you might run into. And the best practices for having a challenge and how to overcome it are to use this formula. Are you working hard? Have you found some good strategies? And are you asking for help from others? All right, all of those encourage very powerful learning. So the warm-up question was, if you didn't see it, think about a time you tried to learn something new but felt like giving up. What was it? Why did you feel like giving up? All right, and now they're asking you, what are some strategies you used or could have used to help you keep going? Hopefully you learned some new things in this lesson. That's the point of these lessons, is to learn some things of how to overcome challenges through life, or how to learn new things mainly. We will have more lessons directly pertaining to challenges, but these are some strategies when you're learning new things, how to keep going. Students, I can't tell you enough how many times your teachers, how many times I've failed at something. We all have failed through life, and that's failure is one of the biggest reasons why we don't do things. It's because we might feel embarrassed, which is a big one, because our self-confidence gets hurt. But we have to keep going, especially in this time. With everything going on in the community and the world, we need to make sure we as individuals keep moving forward and bringing each other together and talking to each other about different things, whether it's strategies or opinions, certain things we can do to help each other and support each other. It's what we want at Griffin, okay? It's what the community we want to build at Griffin is, a positive environment. We support all students here. Students, if you need anything, if you just want to talk about topics that you don't have anyone to talk about with, schedule an appointment. We'll talk about them. I'll listen to your thoughts. We'll bounce ideas. And obviously, if you need help or support, again, reach out, schedule an appointment, and we'll get in touch with you. but I hope this lesson taught you some new strategies. Teachers, again, y'all rock stars. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a good, Tuesday afternoon. Stay on top of your work, students. It's a good time to be in school. Y'all have a good afternoon.